That's interesting. Okay. All righty. We are here. It is a Wednesday edition, previously the highest rated edition of the slate every week. Actually, it's probably still like that, Jeffy, because you and I are still here.
We had a big gap to work with, right? Between the next highest rated as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And we do have Nick Fryer here with us again, now part of our Wednesday family. Nick, I think it was yesterday you were at work, right? I heard you like sneeze in the hall, or was at your desk or something. And I was like, oh, he's for sure calling in sick tomorrow and not doing this show because you've missed this show like 5 out of the last 6 weeks.
This is
hell,
injuries and sickness.
Oh my God, this is all complete fabrication. You're just trying to deflect off the fact that yesterday Jesse was so sick of you on the show because you kept trying to make me laugh off camera while we had during the NBA segment. So this is all lies.
No. You do not tell our fans. You do not reveal how the sausage is made, Nick. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm bringing out a smile on your face because you look so much more handsome when you're smiling compared to your resting bitch face when you're giving picks. So like female, male audience, whatever you like, people are watching like this guy is hot and sexy and I like his picks.
So, I can't debate that because you do the same thing with Pierce and try and make him smile all the time on the show. So
Pierce doesn't smile.
No, that's really hard thing to do. Pierce has smiled like 3 times in 6 years I've worked with him. So.
He smiled this morning when we were like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like him wearing that jacket.
I love it.
Oh, all right. I love it too.
You know what's going to be great tomorrow? I'm going to dress up in Santa costumes and I'm going to ask him why he's not dressed up in anything.
Dude, are you going to dress up tomorrow for the show?
Yeah, for sure I am now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's our last show until after the new year. So let's do it. All right. So that means this is our last time together until after the new year. Last show here before Christmas. Let's dive into some fun odds here. NFL guys, week 16, 3 weeks to go. Each team has 3 games to play. Come on, let's start tomorrow night. Wait a minute. Jags are now 1.5 point dogs. They were 1 point dogs this morning. What the hell's going on here, Friars? It's America's team. This is my team. I am a little nervous though. Short week, Thursday night football typically sucks. What do you like right now? What's a bet that you like for this game?
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the spread in a second, but to me right now, my favorite bet between these 3 main ones right now is the total. Actually seeing the number climb a little bit from when I had last checked. It's now 37.5. Yep. I liked it at 36 and I'm going with the under on this one. I'm surprised, this is a little reverse line movement on this one, but look, the Jags, what is it? The over 6-1 in their road games. But the weather is looking so gross in this
tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, okay. Last I checked it was. I mean, unless something changed in the last hour or something like that, which I highly doubt it. But then looking at the market movement on this one too, 50% of the handle going towards the under on this one, and only 31% of the bets. So that's some serious sharp money going on the under here. And then looking to it, some of the past stuff. I know I mentioned the Jags, but with the Jets, the under is 9-5 for them this season, and then 5-2 in their home game. So there's a lot. The only stat that I'm seeing that would lead me towards the over is the Jaguars in their road games, but being a warm weather team going into New Jersey, I'm leaning more towards the under in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say like being a fan of this team my entire life. It was either like on the West Coast, they completely have sucked, which is why it was so big that they knocked off and crushed the Chargers earlier in the year, but also cold weather. Like the Jags just suck in cold weather. Jeff, where are you leaning here? Because the one caveat that I'll mention based off of what Fryer just said, the over 5-1 in the past 6 appearances on a Thursday for the Jets.
The over 5-1. Yeah. I mean, this is we're into a situation where with all this weather stuff, I think you need to wait. I really do. I mean, I think I think what you saw is when it dipped to 36.5, it was just such a number, like a low number that people just started, there was just more action that people saw and they grabbed a piece of the over. That's fine. But, what we've seen with these games is sometimes it just isn't what it appears. I mean, that certainly was the case with the Buffalo game. It's a really low total. If the weather clears up a little bit, like, I mean, like, it's going to be exceedingly low, especially with the way the Jaguars have been moving the ball. So, and really, like, the Jags are allowing yards through the air too. So I think that these teams could get there, but it's not like I'm not going out of my way to bet the total right now. I think that, again, with the weather, Nick brings up good points with the line movement and stuff like that. And if the weather does hold, I think there's a good chance that, it's going to be a big factor. So for me, it's just a wait and see spot. I am into the player props in this game. That is really where I'd be focusing. You mentioned like the Jaguars being, just not great for this situation. I do think that they're the better team here in a lot of different areas. I think they'll be able to run the ball with Eddie, and I think they have an experienced head coach now, which is, again, like the Doug Peterson factor.
It's incredible.
It's just a big deal. I mean, he's played in Philly, like he's played in games like this. I don't think it's going to be as big a deal as it was in the past. So I would definitely lean Jags, but my like favorite thing to do with this game is look at some of the props. One thing I'm looking to do is take an under on Zonovan Knight. Ankle injury that banged him up a little bit. I know he was off the injury report, but 13 carries last week for 26 yards against Detroit. Another tough defensive front here. Michael Carter still taking 50% of the carries. And you look at the Jags, complete funnel to the pass defense. Their rush defense regressed a little bit, but I like this one. This total actually came down. I think it opened at 59. So I bet it down to like 56 though. I think it's a good spot to take the under.
Yeah, I know. And we'll get to DFS in a little bit, but I think similar to ETN, based off your point there with Knight, I think they're both must starts in showdown formats, because I do think both, if the weather looks like hot garbage, I think especially the Jets offense is going to continue to rely heavily on the ground game with Zach Wilson under center. But I love what is Doug Peterson's odds for coach of the year, by the way? Because if they win out and win the AFC South and make the playoffs, I don't know, man. It could be worth a little something there for Dougie P, especially didn't the news about Tannehill come out maybe like within the last hour that he's likely done for the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
I missed that. I'll admit I didn't catch that. Did that just come out?
I got like an alert on my phone a little earlier.
So is he's likely out for the season, or is he like?
Here we go. Tannehill season likely over. This is from that Paul Karski guy, whatever. The
Paul Bruno?
No, not Paul Bruno. This is different. Paul K. I think he covers him for ESPN. So anywho, this is great. This is breaking news. We're all learning together. Titans quarterback very likely done for season with ankle injury as team fights to maintain playoff spot.
Yeah. I like the Peterson
Jeff. I immediately went there, Jeff. I've already looked. I'm like, it's off the board.
Yeah, of course
the Jags were still like plus 150, I think, like 2 days ago. But anywho, yeah. Hey, I love the call. I love the Peterson call.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I guess he's sixth, so he's pretty high up. It seems like pretty long odds. But I gotta say, guys, as much as I do like Peterson, I think it's a good call. I'm on the opposite side of Jeff and I guess Emerson by default. I'm actually going with the Jets in this one. I'm going to stay money line too. I don't want to get too cute with this. The public is heavy on the Jags, and obviously we've seen this line move quite a bit. If you go check on in this game and you look at the stats section, you'll see that the line has moved quite a bit. And at one point, the Jags were the favorite team in this, which, makes sense based on some of the movement and everything. But then now, 73% of the bets against the spread and 65% of the money line bets are going towards the Jags here. Yet now we're seeing things move back towards the Jets, back to where I believe this opened at 1.5, or it was at one point, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, we're seeing, again, sharp money in this situation go towards the Jets here. So with that line movement and everything being fluctuating as much as it has, and the public being so heavy on the Jags in this one, I'm sorry, Emerson, I got to lean with the Jets here, especially when you look at the handle too. 32% of the handle for the ATS bets going towards the Jets. Despite 27% of the total bets. And then a similar kind of range we're looking at too on the money line too, but it seems like the sharps are a little bit more on that one too. So I like the Jags. That I was on them, going into the Cowboys game. I didn't have a money line, but I had them against the spread, obviously covered in that.
You don't need to defend yourself, Nick. It's fine. Emerson,
you know who had a money line? Right here, buddy.
He says a lot of mean stuff to me off air, Jeff. You know this.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Very
I literally
uncomfortable work
lift you up.
situation.
I lift you up, dude.
Just
Other people tearing you down, guys like Billy saying how ugly you look in commercials. And I say, no, dude, no. We're gonna tweak this here and here.
Jeff,
do
you
this
ever
with your
dealt
hair.
with
What I
somebody
do? What
who,
I
like,
do?
gets
I got you
upset?
in with Kaylee. I got you in with Kaylee, the barber at DK. You literally went from like a 5 to an 8.
Jeff,
it's like She's All That, but with Nick. With our oh man.
All I have to say to that is, Jeff, you ever dealt with somebody who like gets really upset with you when you don't text them like every other day? Have you ever had like a relationship like that in any capacity with someone?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just okay, so you know what I'm dealing with then.
Of course. I've been friends with Emerson for like 5 years now.
Yeah. Anywho, wait a minute. Hold on, because Jacksonville 4-1-1 ATS over the last 6 games, though. Jeff, come on.
Yeah, look, I mean, like, I'm not betting this game line. I mean, I'm not. I just the cold weather, the Jacksonville day. I think there's too many variables for me to like it. But I would side again if you're like, hey, buddy, take a side right now. I would just take the plus money with the Jags. I'd probably just bet them on the money line.
Nice.
Again, I got too much respect for Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, the way he's playing as well. I think that what this is going to end up is, I think it's going to be a close game. And I think at the end, it will come down to the Jaguars are just the more competent offense, and they'll put together a drive and they'll get that late field goal or late score and they'll win the game. I think that, they deserve a little bit of respect. I think that the weather may not even you think about Jacksonville, to the cold weather team, but like they have Etienne on the ground. They have a pretty good defensive line. Like, I don't think they set up that poorly for this style of game. So, it's the Jets offense that I feel like people should be worried about here with, Zach Wilson back there again. So I don't know.
I think Lawrence, because Lawrence and he has been playing out of his mind the past 5 weeks. I don't think he's thrown an interception. Guy's throwing like multiple touchdowns a game, but it's a lethal combination here, Nick, of a strong Jets pass defense, and because of the weather, some poor quarterback conditions. So I don't know. Is there a prop in there that you like surrounding like maybe a Travis Etienne? Because I think he could be in for a larger workload, and he needs kind of like this bounce back performance after the Cowboys game.
So I think you could look at Etienne, but you were starting to talk more my language when you're talking about the Pats, the Jets defense, and then Trevor Lawrence. My number one prop in this game is Trevor Lawrence under on his passing yards. Now, last I checked, it was 213.5. Jeff, if you could pull that up for us, because I'm curious, because I know Zach Wilson's gotten a lot of one, so 214.5 right now. Obviously, you still like the under on that one. 5 of the last 7 quarterbacks that the Jets have faced have gone under this number. So never mind the weather conditions. The Jets defense has just been that tough on opposing quarterbacks. Then you factor in the weather. And now, I love this play. The over is 8-6 on Lawrence passing props this season. And for me, I've had this happen a couple times throughout the course of the season, whether it's led me towards the under or the over, where I've seen a number and this, the quarterback on that given day has either pulverized that over or pulverized the under, and it doesn't make too much sense why this number is so low or so high. There's an Aaron Rodgers game where I was thinking specifically, I think it was the Lions game, where it was higher than I think any number he'd had all season long. And obviously we know with the Lions what opposing quarterbacks have been able to do against them. So I went with the over on that one, and it hit. Similarly in this game with Lawrence, he's gone under this number only 4 times all season long, which it smells kind of weird to me. So so on top of everything I just talked about, there's just something about it that just like that extra bit that it just, why is this number so low? And it highlighted the numbers, but still it's really low for him. So I hate to again burst your bubble, but I like the under here.
It's okay.
You can play it down to, honestly, I would say probably 210. I would play that the under on that one and then after that, maybe a little suspect, but still, regardless, I like the under here.
I like Trevor Lawrence like over 12.5 rushing yards, 7-3 to the over on his rushing total since week 5, and has he's run for 20 or more yards in 6 of those. I would just like this on record as well. His 4.9 yards per rush this season, better than Jalen Hurts. Okay.
I think without having looked at the stats, I mean, my gut says that's a pretty good play. I'm going to try and look some stuff up right now, Jeff, but I like that.
He's and so he averages 3.5 carries per game, 9th highest rate among NFL quarterbacks this season, by the way. But yeah, Ulrich, prop bet. What do you like, dude?
Yeah, no, I mentioned the Zonovan Knight play, and like I think I'm pretty much in line with Nick there on the Trevor Lawrence play. Like I agree with pretty much everything he said. I think that the Jaguars can win this game, but like it's gonna be a little bit more dink and dunk, and Zay Jones isn't gonna be getting like 30-yard passes downfield against Sauce Gardner. Like just take out the weather conditions alone, and I think like that'll probably be something. So I'm kind of in line with them. I'm actually a little bit interested in the over on Zach Wilson, to be honest. I'm
with you, Jeff.
What's
the over? The over on
I'm with you.
yards?
I am with you on both of these. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, think about it. I mean, if we're projecting like for a close game, I mean, Jacksonville, like the Jets couldn't run the ball last week against Detroit. What makes us think that all of a sudden they're going to come out and run the ball against Jacksonville? Kind of a similar defense. But like Wilson, what you've seen is like he's been completing passes downfield. They're not an efficient offense. They're not efficient in the red zone. But I think that Jacksonville will control the pace a little bit. They'll put some points up, and they'll force Wilson probably to do enough here. Again, this is all weather dependent, right? If it's just a disaster, you don't need to do that. But I think if it's clear enough, like I would be looking to potentially take the under on Lawrence and then the over on Wilson. It's got nothing to do with like, I think Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. It's the way these two teams set up. I think that the Jags will have some more success running the ball with Etienne than the Jets are going to have running it with like Knight and Carter. I think the Jets offense has to pass the ball in this situation to move it. Okay. And I think they will.
See, and if I'm going to go into the passing department with Wilson, let's see, what's his completions? Here they are. His completion total over under 17.5, Fryer. A guy who's completed more than 18 passes just once in his 8 starts this season. I would have no issues fading a quarterback who has like the worst accuracy in football on a short week with bad weather.
That's fair. I do want to point out too, we on DraftKings Sportsbook, you do have these head-to-head passing props, or just in general, you have head-to-head stat numbers or stat categories you can use with these players. With the quarterback specifically, the spread right now is 15.5. Wilson getting the extra 15.5. Now it does make sense based on where the passing props are set up right now.
I didn't know we had that.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
These are great ones. I love it. You can get 15.5. I actually almost like taking that. I mean, assuming we just talked about it, I almost like taking that than just the pure over on Wilson. I think there's so many ways you can get there. They could both have crappy days. I just think it'll be Wilson who's passing more in the game.
Doesn't mean he's going to complete more.
It doesn't mean that he's going to be more efficient. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that I think that the game will probably force him into. Look, the Jets lost. What did Zach Wilson pass for last week?
No, so here we go. I have it. That's just why I like 17.5. I'm like, man, that seems like a pretty good under because he went 18 for 31 passing conditions last week in that loss against the Lions that are obviously going to be more favorable than what we're going to see tomorrow night.
Yeah, and he threw for like what 300 something yards.
Yeah. So like everyone looks at the yards. Most of that came on like that last series or two, right?
Sure,
threw up a couple little Hail Mary attempts, whatever, a little fart.
Again, I mean, he still had a pretty strong yardage total, right? So yeah, I like this one. It's good. I always forget these are here too. But the heads up, you should always be looking for this stuff. If you think like one guy's significantly, potentially in line for like a really low or high day, I mean, you can take advantage of it in multiple ways. So
yeah, and then. I don't typically go towards these either, but it's just always, I always think it's like a fun one to look at. But in this situation where I find myself like, those are my two favorite props in this one, where it's Wilson on the over and Lawrence on the under, and they're just so close. I can't help but want to bring that one up. And the other thing too, like I understand what you're saying, Emerson, with Wilson, but the other thing too, when you look at the Jags, we haven't seen a quarter. I know the weather conditions are terrible, but Jeff highlights great reasons why we're going to see Wilson probably throw more. But we also haven't seen a quarterback go under this number against the Jaguars since like week 5. And I think week 6 was Jones, who had just barely went over this number, but Daniel Jones, who's we've seen put up some pretty brutal numbers this season. Derek Carr went over this number. We've seen him put up up brutal numbers. And Tannehill, you were talking about before too, like, and that was just recently, if I'm not mistaken, that was like 2 weeks ago. And that was sandwiched between like two, like sub 200-yard games out of Tannehill too. So I'm look, I don't, like, again, I'm not saying Wilson's a great quarterback, but I like the Jags, but a lot of this pointing me towards the over here.
All right, man. I mean, I get it. Like on paper, it seems easy, but 51
Emerson has the Jags projected for like a 69-0 win.
Shut your face.
Zach Wilson with 4 interceptions.
I'm literally making good points. I'm literally making great,
what's your pick
fantastic points. Okay. Yeah. And Wilson completed just 51.4% of his passes versus the Detroit defense that ranks even worse than the Jaguars, and EPA dropped back in success rate versus the pass.
Okay.
Listen, you guys, hey, guys, can I say this? We can both be right. He can throw for all those yards. My argument's not the yards. I was just saying, like,
that's
going
what
to
we've said like 4 times already.
No, don't gaslight me.
You know, that was the word of the year.
I'm gonna do something with the gaslight with you, pal, in a second if we don't move on from this. That's for
okay.
Sure.
All right. What do you want to do? You want to do it? Let's do a DFS play.
I thought we were going to go all the way till 6 because it's the Jags playing on Thursday Night Football. Usually we're pretty close.
I'll do it. And I'll get all my dudes down at Duval to retweet the show.
Duval. Okay.
All right. Who do you want?
Do it every week.
You want a captain? You want to just give us your favorite play, captain, value, whatever the hell you want to do.
So I think Michael Carter's interesting. I think they'll, again, poor weather. He's gonna be on the field. We have seen him pop up with some bigger passing days. I think that whenever you get a PPR running back, he's someone you can consider in a lower scoring game. But it's Eddie N to me is probably like the biggest, is probably your best bet. I just like the passing totals in this game, the touchdowns, they're probably just not going to be there. So, if you get Eddie N in the end zone with how much workload he's going to get, you've got to figure it's going to be there. The contrarian move is certainly going to go with a wide receiver here. Even with Zay Jones being, out of his mind the last couple of weeks, I don't think he's going to be heavily owned at all. Wilson might get some ownership, but like Eddie N is definitely going to be the chalk. He's going to be the highest owned. I kind of like Michael Carter as the pivot there. And this is just going to be low scoring. I just don't think there's going to be a guy. We may not get a fantasy score above 20 points. It wouldn't shock me. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. So because I know earlier, at least on the sportsbook side, you liked some Zonovan Knight props there. So would you go? Like
I liked him for the under, though. I liked him for the under. So
okay, all right. So then you tend to go. You probably then don't like him. And
well, that's why I said I'd rather go Carter than Knight.
So Fryer, shut up, Fryer. Are you going to go heavy on running backs? You can talk now.
Are you okay? Thank you for clarifying. So no, I actually, just talking about going with a receiver in this situation as a contrarian play. I actually like Evan Ingram in this spot too.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, and I know I talked everything about going with the Jets in this one, but he's been getting fed like crazy of late, as you know, Emerson. And to me, as much as they're going to have to rely, both teams are going to have to rely on the ground game with this weather. I would think that Trevor Lawrence, a guy who he's been working with well lately, big body, I would think you'd want to try and feed him a little bit more in this game. And the other thing too, the Jets have not given up a lot of touchdowns to opposing tight ends this season. I think it's only 2. Yeah, it's only 2 so far this season. But both of those touchdowns have come in the Jets' last 2 games too. And then on top of all that too, just another little thing, the tight end position averaging 10.4 yards per catch against the Jets this season.
Yeah, dude. And Jags probably going to want to attack New York with that short to intermediate passing game. And what I love about Ingram is his yards after catch, or yak, as professionals in the biz. Like, I'm a former coaching minor, so I like to call it yak, but he's racked up 330. Yeah. Shake your head, Ulrich.
Coaching minor? Is that what you said?
Yes, dude. Listen, let me finish my point. He's racked up 330 of his 610 receiving yards after the catch. That's third among tight ends. Get the ball in this dude's hands, and he's capable of making a big play. Not to mention, he knows there'll be some old Giants fans maybe just trickling around the stadium, sprinkling in some of the seats. I'll look up and see some blue. And he knows the way that he was treated there. He knows the way he was treated in when he played for the New Jersey Giants.
I like the call. I like it.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram's always been a favorite of mine.
Dude,
glad to see he's finally being put to good use. He's an athlete, man. He's a guy who ran sub 4.6 40. Basically wide receiver playing that tight end position, complete mismatch. Doug Peterson, again, you know, he knows how to use players like that. So I think that's a really good call. It's hard to, cause it's really hard in this game to get on like the outside receivers here, especially for Jacksonville. Yeah. So, you know, Garrett Wilson is also someone, but man, there's 5 or 6 guys here who could potentially pop up. I just don't think there's going to be big spread scoring. So if you can save that extra money by going down, that's why I didn't bring up Lawrence. Is I would just much rather save that extra cash, really try out and go for like a more balanced approach. Because I think you're going to need as many kind of double-digit scores as you can to make up for the lack of explosiveness.
All right. So hypothetically speaking here, Fryer, what do you have to say? Because it's probably more important than what I'm.
Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, the defenses in this one too, if you're trying to save a little bit of money. Now, personally, I'd rather go with the Jets in this one, just because of how I feel about the way the game's gonna go. But either way, whichever defense you're feeling stronger about, they're pretty close in pricing. I think it's like 3.8K for the Jags and then 3.6K for the Jets. And Emerson, you talked about too with Etienne and how he's just not played as well of late. I mean, you look at that and then you look at what they've done against the quarterback position, as I talked about earlier when we were breaking down Trevor Lawrence's passing prop. To me, like I think the Jags is a great way to save some money here. And in the past too, I've talked about, you know, which kicker I like to, you know, mix in. I would fade them both in this spot just because of the weather.
Yeah, Zerline missed that. Did he have the distance on that? What was that? 56 yards to try to beat the Lions last week. I mean, this is supposed to be Greg the Leg, man. Remember him in our Madden Sims, Jeff? That guy never missed.
From like 70.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. Hypothetically speaking, here we had a viewer email in. So Jeff, would you start Zay Jones over Hollywood Brown in fantasy and season long? It's a season long question here from this viewer, Tom. Gross. Tom in Kansas.
I think I would probably start Zay Jones. I really wouldn't like it though. Good. Like, I mean,
yeah. All right.
There's a pretty good argument that you could, it's always one of those things. How are you going to feel about it in the morning? Like, you know, Zay Jones goes for another touchdown here, goes for, you know, maybe he doesn't get like 100 yards, but he goes for 60 and a touchdown. How are you going to feel when you sit that and you have to start you know, Hollywood Brown with, you know, whoever Arizona
third string quarterback. Yeah, it's going to be third string quarterback there. Yeah, it's
going to be pretty gross. You know, and like the defensive matchup isn't great for Brown either. So yeah, I would probably just roll with Jones. He's going to face Sauce Gardner a little, but yeah, the weather's going to be bad. But you know, a lot of people are going to be facing the same things. So I would just roll with Zay Jones.
All right, Babs. Hold on. How many more? Tom in Kansas, first time, long time. What do we got? Like a few more minutes here, Eamon. Do you guys want to just give me your other like favorite bet on the board or like favorite spread on the board or something here, Nick? Because I know we've been all Thursday night, which is what we should be. Yeah,
it's funny how you say that, especially today. But looking at this weekend's games, the number one for me right now is Bears. Plus 8.5. Although I checked that again an hour ago. Yes, still plus 8.5.
It's gonna be cold as hell there, dude. The weather on Saturday, by the way, like you should think a little bit about it.
Yep, 100%. Well, I was going to cite the weather because last I checked, it was 20-mile-an-hour winds in that game, and it's in Chicago. And then Bills, what are they? 4-6 ATS after a win. They're also 1-3 ATS in non-conference games. You look at the Bears. You know, there aren't really many numbers that like make me love the Bears, like when I'm looking at their stats, but they're 2-1-1 in non-conference games, 2-1-1 ATS, in non-conference games. So they do have that one at least going for them. This number is obviously pretty sizable, but with the weather, when you factor that in, I'd rather take the points in this one. And then also, again, looking at the market movement and everything, 56% of the bets, 81% of the handle. So the public does like them more, but we're obviously seeing quite a bit of sharp money going the Bears way. So when I write up the best bets for this weekend, I'm definitely going to be featuring this Bears game, even if it goes down to, if it gets past 7.5, if it gets to 7 even, I'd probably still go with it at 7. But if it goes below that for some odd reason, I don't think it will, then I'm not exactly sure how I'd feel about it at that point.
All right, we've got about a minute to go here. If you're writing a best bets article, what's a game that's absolutely going to be in there?
Well, I mean, the Colts at +5 are a lock, so I don't need to get to, Nick Foles is starting now. So obviously we're going to take that.
Congratulations.
So that's in there. This is going to be such a weird week because of the weather. I'm almost more inclined to look at some totals this week. I love the Texans when you're getting +4. Now it's down to +3. I don't know. Really just rather have 3.5, probably just stay off it. I am interested in the Giants and Vikings and the over there. Really think that's going to be just a great fantasy environment for everyone involved as well. Looking at some props here. I don't know if Darius Slayton's prop is out yet. I think it is actually. I was looking earlier, but yeah, if you can get the over on Darius Slayton, 48.5. Love this. Just a secondary that just seeds big plays. That is someone I would very much hop on early. I think you'll see that total push to like 51 or something. Certainly wouldn't shock me there. So couple early things like that. I unfortunately, like for the lines, I mean, it feels like things have tightened up pretty quick here with some of the numbers and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily have like a big early week bet to give in terms of just the line. I mean, I'm probably going to look at the Raiders if this gets to 3, but I'm kind of sitting back and waiting and see how things go down. The other line I'm looking at to take a potential under on is this Patriots Bengals game. Cold weather again, wind again. And you look at the Patriots, I think it's 4 of their last 5 games, been 34 points or less at home. Like they just play slow pace at home. And
they're terrible, dude.
Yeah, they're terrible, but like their defense isn't terrible.
I had them covering last weekend too.
So dude, terrible. Like I saw your tweet about like the Giants and how boring it is to watch the Giants play football. I can't watch the Patriots play football.
That's great for an under. I mean, I think that this line is being propped up by the fact Joe Burrow and the Bengals are coming to town.
Yeah.
But like, they may only need to score 20 points to cover. So
yeah,
I think it's a great under. I really
am.
I'm actually surprised.
And Bella.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised this was at 41.5. I really was. I think this may get down as the week goes on.
Because also Belichick did not name Mac Jones, like refusing to say that he's going to stick with Mac Jones the rest of the season today too.
Be Zappy.
Dude, Zappy gives him a better chance. Oh my God. And you know what? That's saying something because it's tough to put. You can put Tom Brady back there. And if Matt Patricia's your offensive coordinator, you're effed in the A, bro. Real hard. All right, we got to wrap. You guys are fantastic. I love both of you. Producer Eamon, and AC on the 1s and 2s. Thank you, everybody. And go Jags, America's team. We'll see you tomorrow morning, everybody.